Good evening. You're here at the Selectmen meeting for August 9th, 2022. We have a fairly long agenda, so we're going to get started. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of July 12th?
So moved. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous with one absentee. We now have a public hearing on Cafe Sebago liquor license renewal. So, is it actually a public hearing?
Yes, it is.
It is, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to open up the public hearing on the renewal of the liquor license for Cafe Sebago. Do I have any comments from the public? Okay. I'll turn it over to the select board. Any questions?
Joe, that
Yes.
letter that came in, can that be read and put into, I don't have it on hand though? And it would be a letter concerning the garbage out back?
That's the question I was going to ask.
If I can find it, I'll read it into the record.
I know it was sent, hold on, sorry, I'm trying to find it. And also regarding, is this where when we also go over the fire inspections?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, because there's a lot of things on here, knowing that this has been put off a couple times, and there's a lot of things on here that still have to be done or have not been done.
Understood. So Wayne, we just received your inspection report tonight. Can you give us a rundown, please?
Sure thing. Was there yesterday for the inspection for this liquor license and the special amusement license. Some of the things that we found in particular was the grease hood was dirty. There was quite an accumulation of grease on the walls and ceiling area in the kitchen. Talked to the owner about the oil and grease that was in open buckets outside the dwelling instead of, outside the building, instead of placed in the approved container. Emergency light was not working, and that's the only emergency light in that whole building for the public to be able to see their way to exits if we lose power. And then the other item was the rear exit door. It's starting to rip out from the hinges and needs to be secured back in place so the door will operate properly. And there, the other thing was the fire alarm system. There's annual testing and maintenance that's required with a report submitted to the fire department. That has been scheduled, but the date of that testing and inspection would be the 15th of this month.
Wayne, I don't know if you said it or not, I'm sorry. What about the dance floor inspection too? Did you mention that?
Yeah, so as far as the fire department's concerned, it's kind of the same thing. But the key there is State Fire Marshal has to come in, perform their inspection, submit their report, and if everything passes with them, then they grant a license, which, you know, for us, that's kind of a condition for the approval for the amusement part of the license. That doesn't expire closer to the end of this month. So there's still a little time for the fire marshal to come in and do that inspection for Cafe Sebago.
Okay.
But that's where we stand at the moment.
Joe, I found that letter if you didn't find it.
No, I actually have it in front of me. If you want to read it, go ahead.
All right, we got the letter, and it said, to whom it may concern, I am writing regarding the pending site plan for map 55, lot 004A for a patio and parking expansion. As a property abutter, it appears the expansion was begun long ago. The back of the property has already been extended onto residential property and is currently used for parking. Is there a new parking expansion plan, or is part of the parking lot going to be used for patio extension? What are the stormwater runoff ordinances? The current parking extension of residential property has been stripped of vegetation allowing water runoff onto my property. I would like these issues addressed. I do hope when you are considering the liquor license renewal that you take into consideration what the properties that abut this one must contend with. I can only speak for myself and my tenants. So here is just a few things we deal with regularly. My back parking lot is gated, so there is no access by vehicle at night. On the portion of that lot that is separated only by a cement barrier from the bar, it is common to arrive in the morning and have to clean up broken glass and drug needles that have been left on our property. If it is windy, we get the pleasure of picking up their trash that is blown all over the neighborhood. Disgusting is an understatement, not to mention the horrible smell that comes from dumpsters that do not get dumped regularly. In closing, I do support any extra parking that is within town ordinances. I do not support the patio extension or liquor license renewal. Sincerely, Jeffrey Cox. So is Kyle here tonight? I can't see the audience.
Yeah, he's here. But we're not ready for you, Kyle.
Okay.
We're still
Okay.
working as the select board.
And I think also looking on the report too, one of my concerns is as a selectman, as a parent, as a citizen, is the police reports. As far as how many people are leaving there drunk and getting OUIs, getting tickets for driving. And I do know at the last time that I think we renewed Kyle's thing, it was mentioned to him, you know, we were concerned about hearing things. And Kyle said that they watch, he's a bouncer, and I may be just assuming here, but to me, a bouncer is someone that is watching someone's personalities, the way they interact, and if they are letting people leave there that drunk that they're getting picked up with OUIs, I have a really big concern.
Okay.
All right, that's just me.
Any questions for Wayne? Hey, Wayne, I have a question for you. Wayne?
Yes, I'm right here.
Okay. That grease issue,
Yep.
if I remember last May, it was still a problem back then.
It was,
And then it was supposed to be rectified with regular cleaning. And now you're saying it hasn't been cleaned in a year and 3 months?
No, I'm not saying that it hasn't been cleaned in a year. Well, it was actually cleaned in May. But what the conditions we found there yesterday during the inspection, it needs to be cleaned again. I know that Kyle has reached out to the contractor that does that professional service, and they're actually scheduled to come back in tomorrow morning and clean that system again. So in all fairness, you should be aware of that.
Okay, thanks, Wayne. Alex, are there any permits that have not been obtained or any zoning violations?
So there's still an open violation for this property, and that is for the parking area that was created in the back of the building without site plan approval. So Kyle is aware of that. We've had multiple discussions about that and how he can correct that, productive discussions, with what he's thinking he's going to do to try and correct the violation. It's really two different permits. One would be site plan to keep the back parking area the way it is and use it as parking and with some modifications. And the other one would be just a building permit application for the modifications outside of the building. A few years ago, there was a rear deck with some, outside storage behind the building. That area was turned into seating. So that's a very simple building permit to just modify the change of use of that area from storage to seating and patron area. He hasn't applied for that permit yet, but those are the two things that we would need to get everything.
How long were these uses unpermitted, let's say?
I think the seating area goes back to before he was actually operating over there. I think it was at least 2 years. And the rear parking, I believe, was last spring that they did that.
Okay. Any other questions for Alex?
No.
Okay.
Any other questions from the select board? Teresa?
No.
Okay. Kyle? So you just heard everything.
Absolutely. We'll run down it piece by piece. Let's start with Wayne. The inspection, I received the report this morning. Me and Wayne have talked about the core things that need to be taken care of that. He has an email that I sent to him this afternoon. We've taken care of the door, the emergency light, everything minus the state inspector for our dance license. That's scheduled for Thursday at 12. The alarm company is scheduled for Monday at 12. It's the earliest I could get them in there to take care of that. Hoods is coming back. The problem that we had with the grease system, I hired an outside contractor in both times. August 2nd, I had this company come in and they charged me $600, did a full service. Wayne came in 5 or 6 days later, was not happy with the work. I had them come back and do it again. I was assured that this time around, when I scheduled it again in May, that we weren't going to have these issues. Clearly, this company is not putting together what I need them to do. They will return because I've already paid for this service to get it completed tomorrow. We'll speak with Wayne and have him do an inspection after, so that'll be taken care of as well. So the only open items that are left on Wayne's list are going to be those things that I just mentioned. The meeting on Thursday with the state fire marshal, the alarm system on Monday, and then hoods tomorrow. After Monday, the 15th, his checklist will be complete. He'll have everything he needs for a full sign-off.
Okay.
What about the parking lot?
What about the permits?
The permits, so I've tried the online system 3 times. I've called Town Hall. I actually spoke with Kirsten today. I said, I'm having problems doing the online permitting. Is there any way I can come in? She said, yeah, I'll be here tomorrow from 8 to 4. I said, that's not an issue. I'll make sure that you have the permit for the back extended area that he was looking for, an after the fact permit. The issue with that is I can't do it online. I've tried it 3 different occasions. Now I just have to go manual. We'll take care of that tomorrow.
Well, it's been 6 months.
That was just brought up to my attention less than 2 months ago. This is 2 separate things, as Alex had stated in the beginning. There's a rear seating area that was existing that I have to get a permit for now because that's what is believed should be done. I'm okay with that. It's a $50 or $100 permit. We'll get it taken care of tomorrow. The second, the extending the parking area in the rear. When I had acquired a lease on the rear area, which is a commercial zone property with a residential use. We had removed the topsoil from the area. That's where the violation stemmed from. That was before we added any gravel. That was before any work has been done out there. So that violation is in standing from the very beginning, from the neighbor that actually wrote that letter that Teresa had just read for us. What I did was work with Alex, and I had misunderstood after I had submitted an engineered plan of the facility, what we were doing, that there was additional tasks that need to be done. There's been no construction back there. There's been no fence installed. There's been no extension of my patio. There has been 6 inches of gravel that's been laid down, and it was in my understanding when we had talked prior that the engineered plan would get us where we need to be to at least do that, and that could have been on me, a mistake that I made. But we're in the position now where I've met with Alex and the town planner. We have a plan formed to get this up to speed. I'm currently waiting for a surveyor to come in because the town planner feels that I need to survey that lot before I can submit any more plan. Unfortunately, I'm waiting for that to come back. As soon as I can get a surveyor in, we can move forward with the plan that me and Alex put together. If you remember, we had sat in the office, come together with how we're going to do this. and we were going to move forward in that direction. So I'm doing everything I can, as quick as I can, to resolve that issue on that front.
How often you have your dumpster picked up?
The dumpsters are dumped regularly. So there was an issue with my dumpster supplier, and I actually received a $900 credit for that month. There was an accumulation of cardboard that was overfilled the dumpster. And I called them up. I said, listen, there's an obvious discrepancy here. They came back and actually credited my account $900, brought a truck out as quick as possible, and I let them know that this is unacceptable. Since then, we haven't had a problem. Those dumpsters remain dumped every week, both cardboard and trash, and we are very vigilant about picking stuff up, which can lead us into our next thing. The complaint from Jeffrey Cox wants to talk about broken glass and drug needles. That gentleman has a camera pointed on our property line, but it seems like he has failed to provide any evidence other than a letter making up stories about what he sees, because at any time he could provide still photographs or video of the shared property line in question, but he has yet to do that. What I've done for probably the last month and a half since I found out about this violation, I've taken videos on different days of the week, both on the weekends and during the weekdays, documenting that property line, showing that there's no broken glass, that there's no trash, that there's no drug needles. And I have it on a thumb drive in my pocket. If you guys want to review that here, take it back with you. I'm fine with that as well. So a lot of this comes down to a neighbor riff. And I will note that if this was the case, it's come to my attention that abutters all got a notice of this meeting, correct?
Correct.
Nobody's here to speak against me, even Jeffrey, for whatever reason. So I have multiple neighbors. I believe there was 14 people on that list at one point that received this letter. Now, one of them are coming here and they're speaking ill of me, as Jeffrey did. And like I said, if we want to look at pictures and photos, I have those. Jeffrey, I don't know what his status is, but I would ask him to show you some evidence to back up what he's claiming.
Not everybody wants to get up in public and talk
Right.
bad about another person. It's not easy to do.
Sure, but if they wanted to, the opportunity's here, and if
Right.
the problems like drug needles and broken glass were as prevalent as people want them to believe, I'm sure that might bring them up here to, mention it, at least to you guys.
So,
Joe,
yeah, go ahead, Teresa.
so, Kyle, after I got the letter, I have gone by a couple of times looking back there just to get my own view of it.
Sure.
And I see a lot of garbage. Cardboard boxes thrown on top, cardboard boxes laying on the side of it and in front of it, and I've seen it several times. So like I said, I don't want to take somebody's word for it. I want to see it myself. So if I go to Wyndham or whatever, I do see it. So I have seen it several times. And I guess I would also have Joe address the question to you as to the OUIs and the people leaving really drunk.
Yeah, let's talk about that, because this is, any evidence or facts that you guys have provided, I have not been provided. I also have to deal with the state liquor inspector on a regular basis. If this was a continuing problem or an issue that was directly related to me, I would imagine that I, in some way, would have been contacted, since I'm the one held responsible. That's why I'm here today. So if we want to talk about that, this will be the first time I hear about it. I'd be happy to answer any questions or try to fill you in with anything that you think is missing. So,
We got a report of 5 OUIs that came out of your place.
and how do they determine that?
Sheriff's office?
Right, but I mean, they pull somebody over.
Yeah, and they
directly
said we had
wait.
drinks at your place. Yeah. They've been observed leaving your parking lot and then get pulled over.
Okay, so if you look into the state law, my responsibility as somebody that serves liquor or alcohol on it is to not let anybody that is visibly intoxicated stay on my premise. That means if they're falling down, if they're falling asleep at the bar, if they're slurring their words, that's what my responsibility is. So if these guys are drinking and they are holding themselves together, they seem like they are well put, we look at them and we observe them, and they're not falling asleep, causing problems, or any of these issues, that is beyond me. So if I don't have a breathalyzer, I don't have the right to breathalyze any of my customers. I can't do a field sobriety test before I leave. So my only obligation is to make sure that these people aren't visibly intoxicated when they're in my establishment.
No one's asking you to do a blood draw and
No,
figure out
I
that
mean,
blood
it's-
alcohol
you
level.
know.
Yeah.
And
but-
I'm there every night, and that's the thing is that I am there on a regular basis every night. If somebody comes in and we had shut them up, what we see on occasion is most bars close around 9 or 10 o'clock. So you'll get an occasional patron that'll come in, and we won't serve them, but they're not okay to leave there. So we offer them. Can we give you a ride? Can we give you a water? But beyond that, there's nothing I can do. I can't withhold somebody from leaving my building. I can't take their keys. I can't tow their vehicle. I don't have that power. So, you know,
How many fights have you had in your bar?
I have had 0 fights this year. 0.
There was no one that was assaulted?
No, there was an incident that happened outside of my establishment, and somehow it ended up in my parking lot. And I clarified that with the sheriffs. The people that called from across the street, and from what I could gather of the situation, somebody was burning out at a resident's house and caused a ruckus. There was a case of mistaken identity with somebody that was in my parking lot picking up a patron, and an argument ensued. And a customer from the gas station across the street came over and said, I just called the cops because I heard all this yelling. I don't know what's going on, and this is, you know, we're calling the cops. Cops came in, they talked to the parties involved. I spoke with the cops. The exact words out of the deputy's mouth was that we don't have to come here. You run a good operation. We rarely have an issue. Fights are not a thing here. So I have a good rapport with the local sheriffs. And we don't have fights or altercations at all this year. That didn't happen in my establishment, and that wasn't a result of something that happened in my establishment. It just kind of showed up on my doorstep, and I had to deal with it.
Okay. Other questions of Kyle? Okay. Seeing none, any public comment? Seeing none, I will close the public hearing. And we'll go to new business. Consideration of Cafe Sebago liquor license and special amusement license renewal. You can sit down, Kyle.
Okay.
You know, I'm having a hard time doing this, knowing that there's still violations out there that need to be cleared. And you know, Alex, is this something that's solvable within 10 days, within 2 months, within 6 months? What's the timeline?
Definitely 6 months, I would think. Within 10 days, no. You know, we met, I think, 3 weeks ago or so, and, you know, he left that meeting going to hire a surveyor. I know quite a few of the surveyors in our area. There's not many. Most of them are 3 months out, and some of them aren't even taking new clients right now. So it can be tough to get that. So for the site plan itself, I think we're looking at 3 to 6 months before that part of it's resolved. The seating area, that could be resolved in the next couple of weeks.
And do you have a firm resolution, or is that still in flux right now?
It's in flux because the reason that, well, there's a few different reasons why we need the survey, but the big one is, you know, the issues he is having with his site is parking and traffic circulation. So that survey will kind of give us the information we need to really see how much space he has on each side, to calculate, you know, what he has for parking spaces based on the, you know, dimensions required for a parking space. And so he has a couple different irons in the fire as far as that goes, with possibly getting more land in the back or the side, or working out some type of agreement, you know, with one of the abutting businesses to try and secure some off-site parking. There's a lot of different scenarios that we worked through to try and make this work for him.
Has he talked to his neighbors about, Kyle?
That I'm not
Have
sure.
you talked to your neighbors about getting parking after they close at night?
Absolutely. So right now we kind of have a shared agreement with the tattoo shop next door. I've also just put the next building under lease, so that provides us with some additional parking over there that we can work in.
Which building are we talking about?
The tie-dye.
Oh, the tie-dye place?
Yep, that just went up, that tenant left, so.
Oh, she left already?
Yep, so I decided to get in there to be able to have some additional parking for my staff, so I can ease the load on what we have over there. And then my neighbors, like I said, they've been great. The rear one has given us the additional space to do what we want to do in the future with the expansion, and the rest have just been very cordial, and likewise with them. I mean, we've had a really good relationship.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Oh.
was there a question with septic too, that the septic had to be changed because of having more people in there? I thought I heard something on that, maybe?
Yeah, Alex, do we need a new septic?
The existing max capacity based on the septic system is 48 seats. So that's established on seats as a restaurant. There's calculations, they're dependent on the use. So, if you change to a takeout business or an ice cream shop or whatever it is, it has a different gallons per day. So the number we've been firm with has been 48.
So
let me
what's
ask
the
you-
occupancy in the building?
That would be a question for Wayne.
Wayne?
He knows that one. Yep.
Wayne, what's the occupancy of the building?
The actual number, I'd have to look it up for you, but it's more than 48.
It was around 100, I believe. If I can remember
So if you
correctly.
get more parking in, and you're pulling in a lot more cars, that's a lot more people that are gonna be coming, whether they're outside, inside, or what, and that's not done. I have to agree with Rolf that I've got really big concerns about approving this right now, because I think there's too many things that are untied.
So if we have 100-person occupancy, you need a whole new septic system.
Yeah, you would be required to expand, if you've got.
I mean,
that
he's
much
talking
seating.
about expanding.
Yeah,
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead, Cal.
The expansion that we're trying to do right now is simply expansion of the patio. There will be no additional seats added to this patio. It's simply for recreational use with cornhole boards and a place to keep people that are dining outside. At this point, our seat capacity hasn't changed, and our seat capacity isn't going to change. That 48 is based on seated customers. And as long as I keep my 48 seat count at 48, I'm in compliance with that.
You've never gone over 48?
No, we keep it it's 48 seats in there is, that's a small building. So we rarely inside, no, we definitely don't get it.
Do
And
you
then
serve food
outside.
there?
We do, yep, from 12 to 9.
Like bar food or?
Appetizers, light fare, handheld stuff, nothing too extensive, light fare pretty much.
Okay.
so can I ask you then, Kyle, if you're having, and I know, just checking Cafe Sebago, I know that you advertise for like a DJ, different events, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. So to me, you're advertising to bring in more people so they can come over, have a good time and that type of thing. So in that case, it is going to be more people than the 48.
I mean, we advertise our services just like any other business.
Right.
We just want people to know that we're there. We're in a small town of 4,000 people, so we need to be realistic on the numbers that we're actually drawing in. This place has been in a capacity of restaurant since 1962. The square footage and the parking that is existing right now has been tight just to fill up what I have for seats right now. So my expansion by adding a couple parking spots will allow me to reach the capacity that I'm already established to have. And the other thing is that the new design that me and Alex are working on right now, the only thing that's holding this up again is a surveyor. I have to wait for the surveyor. We're cutting down our patio size by 25 feet. We're increasing the access to the back of the lot, and we're losing a lot of that parking to, it's gonna be grass in the corner, and there's gonna be access for the fire department in the back. So we're no longer gaining any more parking from the rear of that structure. We're just coming up to code with the fire department and what they expect us to have for lot circulation. So the original thought was to add the parking. Digging into this a little deeper with code, we realized that that's not gonna work. That's why I leased the other building to get the couple spots that we're short right now to operate, and there'll be no additional parking spots. So there'll be no additional parking, there'll be no, the goal isn't to fill this place up. It's to come up to speed with what we're already approved for.
All All right, so I know, like, before it was just a restaurant, they did not have the extra space out back.
They did, yes, they had a deck. They had a,
Right, but just a deck where people went outside to smoke on but
And
they
drink.
didn't have like the whole entertainment center type thing that you have out there now.
fence and stone,
Correct.
and there was tables on the deck. So I mean, I've added a couple picnic tables to the area, and I've some fencing and some stone. This was all submitted with my original application from day one. I mean, this was all detailed out with not only the liquor
Right.
but also the town.
Right, and I understand that, but I was saying, what I was going with is, they didn't have to get a new septic, when it was the other owner, you know, when it was just the food before, but now you're adding entertainment to bring in more people. So that's why the septic, I believe, has been brought into this, is the only reason why I'm bringing that up.
This is the first time that I've heard that the septic would need to be expanded with, Alex, we haven't spoke about this in
Kyle.
the past. Oh, so-
Talk to us.
All right, so it's kind of directed towards him.
Yeah, that's
This is
okay.
the first time that I've heard about needing to expand based on what we're doing. The septic system, the restaurant seats 48 people. That's 48 seated people. Now, I'm not sure how the calculations work beyond that, but our seat count, and what I was told by Alex, as long as there's 48 seats in there, we will be in compliance with what we need.
So there's 48 inside.
There's 48 total.
Including outside.
There's a pool table, and we've reduced, I don't know if you've ever been in the cafe, but we've reduced our dining room size by more than half. We put a pool table in the corner, we have the full bar, and then we have, I believe, seven tables that range between 2 tops and 4 tops in there. We have picnic tables out back, and that keeps us at our 48 count. I mean, we're inside and then the outside, combined. We never have more than 48 people in there eating and dining. That just doesn't happen. It's an in and out casual place. At night, they're coming in, they're having a good time, and then they're hanging out for a few hours and going home. We haven't had any backup with the system that we have right now. We haven't had any leaking, any issues. That system was updated early 2000s to accommodate the code for that building.
Have you had it pumped out?
Yes, we had it pumped out last year. We do it yearly. So we'll
Okay.
probably do it again at the end of the season, just to make sure we're good going into the next.
Okay. Any more questions?
Alex, when does the current liquor license expire? What's the expiration date?
That'd be a better question for Sue, probably.
It's in your packet. So I can find it.
'Cause that I'm not sure.
It's on the liquor license app.
The 19th of this month.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep, thanks.
Can
I
add one thing real quick? Sorry.
You have something, Wayne?
Yes, I do, if you
Yeah,
don't
go ahead.
mind. Couple of things. You asked about the capacity. There's an inside capacity and an outside capacity of occupants that the building can hold, and the current outside patio with the picnic tables can hold. The inside capacity is 112 persons. The outside capacity of that patio is between 109 and 125. So that's to answer your question on that. And then just for a point of clarification on licensing, on liquor licensing, for the different things that we're talking about, there's the liquor license, which the business has had right along. There's the the special amusement license, which is basically allowing entertainment and dining. That's a separate license, which
Does he have that license?
Yes.
Yeah, yes, he does. He got that this past year.
Okay.
And the third thing is liquor license expansion, expanding the area that liquor can be consumed and served. And that's like that rear area that we're talking about with creating parking and an outside space to use. So just for clarification, I know it wasn't real clear. There's really 3 licenses involved here. So three different issues.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yep. Kyle,
Okay.
want to add something?
Yeah, I'd like to speak to the capacity rating is simply they take the square footage of the building, they tell you how many people you can put in it. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna have 107 people in there. It doesn't mean my intent is gonna have 100-something people in there. That's simply during the inspection that's required by the town for my dance license. She has to go in there and figure out what that space can hold with tables, what it can hold without tables. So it by no means that I'm advertising to put 200 people in there. It doesn't mean that I'm trying to put more than what, it just says that that facility, with the way that it's laid out, can potentially hold that amount of people. I can't call her and say, hey, listen, it's, we're only allowed 48, can you bump this down so it looks better. So this comparison between what I'm allowed to do as far as my septic system capacity and then this number up here that seems to be spooking people, there's really no relation other than that's what the building can hold in its capacity if that's what we chose to do, which we're not choosing to do.
Okay.
And Kyle, I'm not criticizing you for advertising. I get that. That's not it at all. I'm just saying that, then does pull more people in, which is good for you, but then not for the.
Sure. Well, I mean, that's why I'm there all the time. I'm continually monitoring. I'd also like to see, what other locations in towns that serve liquor, see for OUI cases to see if that's, there's got to be a standard there. There's got to be something and some metrics that they use because. Yeah, that kind of bothers me that I'm just hearing about this now, especially when I'm the one holding the license and supposed to be responsible for responding to allegations like this.
Well, they're not allegations.
Sure.
They're fact.
Well, I mean, those are summons. Those are summons that are read out. So the reality of it is that 5 summons were written. Unless there's 5 convictions in that paperwork, I think that we're speculating a little bit on what's going on. Because at any time, you could be pulled over and accused of doing what they think you're doing, and you can go into court, and it happens all the time. It gets thrown out, dismissed, or beat.
Well, Kyle, and right here on the report, it does say operator admitted to drinking at the bar. And it says it right on here, and it came from the sheriff's department. And it's literally from 3/18 until 7/14. And again, my concern is, and it's with any bar, and I tell my kids when they're driving, I'm not worried about them, I'm worried about the other person that's driving. And when you've got people that are leaving there, again, and you keep saying too that you aren't responsible for them on your property, but don't you have some responsibility that they're leaving your bar drunk and they're gonna go drive from your place?
My responsibility as a person that serves liquor and the state holds me to, and this is a gray area, and if there's an issue, and I think it's an issue too, is that my responsibility is to make sure that you don't look like you're intoxicated. That is my liability in this whole thing. So again, if you're falling down, if you're slurring your words, if you're causing a problem, you're hurting other people, it's making obvious things. I need to, 1, stop you from consuming. And then really beyond that, my only responsibility is to serve you water until you can find a ride home. I can't force anybody to do anything else. Now, if these guys went to another bar, maybe they didn't get shoved, whatever the reason may be, I can't take their keys. I can't, and these people, I'd like to see some the reports detailed on what these were. I mean, because these cops are, a lot of times, and this has been video documented I can present, they're sitting there 3 or 4 in a row watching my bar for 20, 30 minutes at a row. And this happens on a continual basis. And I can provide enough video to fill, at least an hour of clips of them sitting there. For them to sit there and to pull 5 people out of the, however many thousands of people a year that I serve, I think when you put that into context and that number, that it becomes, a different story and a different narrative than what we're trying to push here.
This is for 6 months. This report.
And Kyle, one person on an OUI can kill somebody.
And I understand.
And there's not a redo of that. So to I guess minimize it, kind of the way you are of how many people you serve in a year, one person is all it takes. And to me, I'd be saying, okay, you leave this parking lot, then I'm going to call the sheriff and tell him you're too drunk or whatever. But I have a real problem, I guess, with that, knowing that somebody I know or any other loved one is having somebody drive home. And that's that just one time, Kyle. That's all it takes.
And I understand that. But at the end of the day, you're asking me to do more than what I can legally do. I can't stop people from leaving. There's been no instance where people are fall down drunk or causing that got into their car and left. There's been, how many times, if the sheriffs are willing to present to you, they've been called one time in a year, to that place. Now, if this is such a big deal and this is happening all the time, and I'm not minimizing what you're saying, and I agree, one drunk driver can change a lot of things, but you're putting the responsibility on a business owner that the state says, if he looks drunk, then you need to serve him water and try to find him a ride home. That's my responsibility with that. I can't control, again, if these guys come in and say they have 3 beers or 4 beers, they look sober, they talk sober, they pay their tab, they walk to their car fine. There's nothing I can do.
I know, but again, you're in that business for doing the alcohol, so to me, that is a responsibility that is on your shoulders.
Well, I mean, I'll have to disagree
I know
with you.
you and I look at it, you look at it differently, I know that.
I mean, I can only do so much, and I think that it's unfair to think that I have to sit there and play the role of the police officer and law enforcement. This is law enforcement's job to stop people from driving on the road. Now, I do everything I can in my power to make sure that people that look visibly intoxicated or they have the signs of it do not continue to drink or to go out there. I do everything in my power, but at the end of the day, it's the law enforcement's responsibility to find these people if they're exhibiting that behavior and punish them. It's not, I can't do anything about that. What I can do is just what I've been doing. Keep an eye on my patrons, make sure that they're not visibly drunk, and continue to do my business. And I know that, liquor has a sore spot for, this and that. I'm doing what I can, and I'm being very responsible. I'm there on a regular basis. I'm there making sure my security is watching for those signs. But I can't do anything beyond what I can do physically within my power.
All right,
That's enough.
let me try and move this along a little bit.
Yes.
Kyle, you mentioned there's 3 or 4 sheriff's officers watching your establishment. Why do you think that is?
It's easy because 302 is there, and when you go fishing, you go where the fish are at, right? So if you're looking to pick up people that have been drinking, you sit outside of a bar. And we can take this into another time, and I could provide the photos and the videos of people that are leaving my bar that have exhibited no signs of being intoxicated, and they get pulled over left and right. This has happened on video on numerous occasions where they line up, people will leave, I'm looking into that right now to see if that's even lawful, because they're not even waiting. They're looking at people. It doesn't matter who you are. They're getting in their vehicle. They'll pull them over, and then most of the time they go on their way because there's no real reason other than they were pulling out onto a roadway from a bar.
All right. Wayne,
Yes.
do you think all the violations that you have listed in your report can be fixed within 30 days?
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
And to Kyle's point, I didn't see his email from late this afternoon. A number of the issues were corrected today, and he did tell me that he would be working on these issues today. So he did send me verification. For example, the emergency light has been corrected. There's a number of things that have been corrected that are on my list. So yes, to answer your question, I do believe within 30 days that can be.
Are you scheduled to go back there within 30 days?
Not currently, because Kyle needed to try to schedule those appointments, like with the fire alarm system company, with the cleaning company for the grease hood system. He needed to make those scheduled appointments. So we didn't set up anything when I left yesterday, but it's very easy for us to do that once he gets everything done.
Okay. So I'll tell the select board where I'm at right now. Kyle's a business person. I know what it takes to run a business. You put your heart and soul into it. You put a lot of money into it. You lose that business, you lose all that investment. There's a lot of things going on that could be done better, obviously. For example, the garbage control, making sure everything is up to snuff. I would kind of like to just give Kyle 30 days to fix it. You know, and then come back and see if everything gets fixed the way it's supposed to be. I mean, I know when you're starting a business, you're short on cash, so sometimes you let things slip, and I just want to give him a chance to fix what's there.
Is 30 days enough, you think?
Well, that's all I'm willing to do. I mean, it's been a year,
Yeah.
you know, and we're coming back with some of the same violations. So, you know, did you fix it in a year? I mean, we still got the permitting issue, which, okay, it's a surveyor thing. Give him some, you know, I'm willing to give him a little slack on that one. But as far as some of these other violations that Wayne pointed out, they shouldn't be there. They should be fixed. So, I'm open to anyone else's thoughts.
So what happens on the 19th if we take no action tonight?
We can extend it for 30
Yeah, we
days.
can.
Yeah,
The state can extend it for 30 days. You would have to contact the State Department of Liquor.
yeah,
And your next meeting is on
September
September
20th.
20th.
yeah,
So are you thinking table it until the 20th?
yeah. Yeah.
I have a question for Kyle. Do you think you can correct these in 30 days?
The only
30
thing
days
that
from
Wayne's whole list will be done by this Monday. So Wayne will be 100% whole. Everything he requires will be completed. You know, some of these repeat violations that we're talking about is, you know, the grease stuff. I've hired these companies and I've gotten a terrible.
Find a new one.
I got it. You know, but they're limited. You know, that's
Oh, I'm
the,
sure
that's the
they
other
are.
thing. But you know, I've held them to the fire. So, and everything else I've fixed. These aren't, you know, things that are. I'm fixing them. Everything that's on his list will be completed by Monday. Like I said, the fire marshal will be in on Thursday to do the dance license inspection, and Monday the fire alarm company will be there. Everything else right now he has. So that list with all those things, he has an email that can be forwarded to you showing the pictures. And this is in 24 hours. This is, you know, he come in and said, hey, boom, boom, boom. I had a carpenter there fixing the door. I had an electrician hanging the emergency light. I mean, I really put in everything I had to make sure that we were in good shape. The one issue that I can't control how quick I can get a surveyor.
No, and
Other
I
than
said, that's not an issue for
Yeah.
us right now.
Yeah, so I mean, other than that, that's not a problem at all. We can get
But
this.
if you could tell me that you got an appointment with a surveyor in 2 months,
Sure, I can get that on the books. That won't be an issue.
so,
But other than that, yeah, everything else by Monday, this Monday at 5 o'clock will be taken care of.
Thank you.
all right.
Can I ask something?
Yep.
So, what about surprise inspections? Are they done in places like this?
Yeah, so we had one last year. The liquor inspector came down, came into our facility, sat down, and then spent the rest of the evening observing our facility. And they actually let the local sheriffs know that they were in town. They tried to enter without an ID. We caught them there. They were looking to see if we overserved anybody. No issues there. And there's been no violations on my liquor license at all from the state. And they have conducted we've been in contact, and that surprise, there was no, they didn't tell me anything. They came down one night, I think it was a Saturday night, and they ran me through the ringer, and there was nothing, no violations, no issues to be had, and we're in very good standing with the state when it comes to our liquor license.
So Kyle, that's funny because I never even thought about the liquor license. I was thinking about Wayne doing a surprise inspection regarding the grease. You just gave me a lot more information, so good. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
I mean,
yeah.
we schedule it yearly with him, and then provide the paperwork that shows that we keep up with the stuff when he's not, like we do the hood cleaning every 6 months. And then once a year, when this comes up, we get together with Wayne. He kind of goes through, makes sure everything's in good shape. If not, we fix it up, and then we see him again next year. Unless, of course, there's an issue or a call, which we haven't had any issues down there where he would show up.
You may want to consider doing it more frequently than every 6 months if you're having that much of an issue.
Yeah,
And maybe the type of food you serve, you know.
I agree.
You know, if you go to a bar, you're not going to get the healthiest food.
Yeah, it's
You
true.
know, so you may want to think about cleaning that more often.
Let's either
Yeah.
that or change that maintenance cycle so that it occurs closer to when the inspection.
Yeah, so what we were doing is kind of going off the state recommendations, but now that we're into it and we have a little bit more experience in the building and what we're doing, we're definitely looking forward to that. And then we're gonna switch our companies. Like I said, I've already paid, so Wayne hopefully will come down tomorrow. I can call Wayne and I'm gonna see if he'll swing in after these guys are done and make sure it's done the right way. Cause I'm just as upset about it because it makes me look bad. You know, I hired this outside company. This is the second time it's happened to me. I've had to call them back. So I'm looking for the right solution too. I'm not looking to drag this out. We're not looking to be cheap or, you know, save money anywhere. It's just, this company has not been great to work with.
Okay, have a seat.
Thank you.
All right, so you heard my thoughts. What's everybody else's thoughts?
I agree with you.
Teresa?
I'm just listening to your thoughts. Rolf?
Yeah, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so
okay.
can I have a motion to table?
Move to table.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, so this will be tabled until September 20th, the next selectmen meeting. Okay?
Thank you,
Get it cleaned up, okay?
You got it. I appreciate it.
All right. Are you all here for the same thing? Because I know this is like live TV right here. This is fascinating, isn't it? So are you all here to public comment?
Yes.
Is that what you want to address? I'm going to go right to public comment so you don't have to sit here all night. All right? So whoever wants to step up.
I don't want to step up because this doesn't make me comfortable. But anyway, my name is Sylvia Sullivan, Abel Bates, and we live at 55 Stark Cove Road in Raymond. And thank you for letting us speak. We're here tonight to express our concern for the town of Raymond over for the destruction of the 500 feet of frontage on Raymond Cape on the west shore. As you know, Sebago Lake is an important resource, natural resource. It belongs to all of us. And we all have an obligation to take care of it. And with this in mind, we started a petition and a brief letter of support for the town of Raymond that has been signed by over 273 people in the last couple of weeks. They're users of the lake, and several of them are here tonight.
Great.
Wow.
Second fiddle. I'm Abel Bates. And I'd just like to read what this letter of support says that the 273 people have signed. We, the undersigned, would like to express our support for the town of Raymond in its effort to make sure that the waterfront land on Sebago Lake that was significantly altered without permit is restored to its former state. We also support the town of Raymond in its attempt to recover all costs of litigation associated with such efforts and to legally impose a fine to discourage future abuses. The land that was altered without permit is approximately 500 feet of water frontage at 28 Whitetail Lane and 18 Fernwood Drive in Raymond, and those two lots are also identified as lots 20 and 22 on Raymond Assessors Map 1. That's it, and we just are here to support you in your efforts. So,
Thank you.
have any questions of us?
Great.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Go ahead, Julie.
My name is Charlotte Neuberger, and I live on the Forest Road on Raymond Cape. Just like to give a little background. We purchased our land in the late 60s, built our house and moved in 1971. We cherished every moment of the process and the joy we felt in the magnificent place to live and to bring up our children. Now, just a short background. I remember when Mr. Riley came to such a meeting in the evening and influenced the selectmen not to consider the use of DDT. That was quite a few years ago. She was recognized and read and read and read again from The Silent Spring by Rachel Carson to help make them aware of the destruction of DDT and and what the pesticides could rot on the lake. Of course, as is often the case, we are not aware of the dangers of such things when it's first introduced. We know now, and she knew then, and relentlessly read until they became aware of what it could do, and they listened. I was also one of the many Maine area residents who drove to Augusta to a hearing about a proposed pipeline from Fry Island to Eelwell Canal to send, and through which they would send their effluent with only tertiary treatment to dump into the canal. More recently, there was the pipeline to tar sands. Each time, those who care for this magnificent area came together to save it from destruction. Apparently, there are those who do not consider this area a treasure for those who live here and for those who visit. This makes me not only sad, but very, very angry. There are laws for others to follow. It appears not for them. There is no consideration for the beauty and the ecosystem that many of us cherish, where we live and where we have brought up our children, and where we want to leave as a better place and not destroy. We and you need to send a strong message, and we are here to support you in what must be the ultimate message to those who act as if they do not care. Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Sarah Cusson, Sylvia and Abel's daughter and stepdaughter. I think everybody's on the same position, but I'm not going to assume. This is crime. It's ridiculous that people, and I'm going to say that think they have money, it's entitled behavior, it's disrespectful, it's rude, it's against the law. And I'm not mad at anybody here. I'm mad about the situation, and I want to help. I want to do something. I want to be heard. My parents, they have a tree in their yard that they think might be dead. They call someone in to see, is it okay? Should we take it down? Shouldn't we take it down? I drive by this monstrosity of a place that this gentleman, Donald Buteau, who hides behind an LLC, what he's done to his property, and I look at all these other people who won't move a rock because they're not supposed to, they need a permit, won't pull up a shrub, won't take down maybe a dead tree, won't do anything. Yet this man did it all in the cover of darkness over the winter when nobody's out on the lake to see it. And all of a sudden now it's spring, and what the heck happened over the winter? And now it's done, so he'll pay his fine and move on, and I'm sure that's what he hopes for. But I'm here to say it needs more. It needs to be back the way it was. It needs something. It needs a message, because apparently he's done it before, and he's not going to stop with a fine. That's all I have to say, but I'm not, I sound angry. I'm not angry at anybody here. I'm angry at the situation and the balls of this man.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else?
Good for her.
No, she's right.
Anyone else? Doesn't have to be on that topic. Could be on anything else you want to talk about. Okay. Seeing none, we'll go back to our agenda.
Give it to the clerk if you want to.
Mr. Bruno, what can we say, what is the status of it? What is anybody doing?
If you look at our agenda, there's an executive session later,
It's on that same.
and we
Yes.
can't talk about it in public.
If you want to see a public statement, you can
You
Go
can
to-
watch Channel
go to
13.
WGME and take a look. I would assure you, at, the staff level, the elected official level, we're taking, good care of this, and we understand the importance of it, and the environmental impacts, and rest assured, we're doing what we need to do.
Yeah, and we can't really talk too
Yeah.
much about it.
But thank you for the petition and the signatures. We do appreciate that.
Yes,
And
very much.
And I will also say that, it's not a fight we're fighting alone.
Right.
We have also gotten the support of the local senators, the local Congress, the local representatives and whatnot that are on board with what they're seeing and things like that. So it's not being taken lightly.
The LEA, the Portland Water District, so there are a number of entities that are in this with us in support, and so we appreciate your support very much. I spoke with Abel, and I knew he was doing this, and I think, that's an amazing amount of signatures in a short time.
But we're not,
One more thing.
we're not supposed to talk about it.
I just want to say that there's 273 signatures we got. There wasn't a single person who was opposed to this. And if we had more time, we could have got 90% of the citizens of Raymond, plus all the people that are using the lake. Everyone is on
We
the
understand.
right side.
We believe, if we could say more, we would say more, but we can't, so.
Is there more that regular citizens could be doing?
I mean, you can write a letter to DEP probably, and express your dissatisfaction.
And it certainly would not be out of line to write to
Your state rep, your state senator.
representatives, because they are aware of it, but the more they hear it from other people, the more it drives it home to them as well.
You could also contact the LEA and
I did contact
Colin
them.
Hume and see what he has to say about, I'm sure they've had fights like this in other places. He probably could give you some advice.
Is the Corps of Engineers involved?
They are, but only, can you speak to that, Eric? Oh, we can't. Can't do that, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that, can't do that. They're involved, they're involved.
I keep telling you, we're working on this, but we can't speak about it,
Okay.
We've
okay?
been speaking about it for about the last 15 minutes.
Well, we're not really speaking about it,
Speaking
I'm gonna
around
kick
it, not
Sam
on
under the table.
yeah. So you're welcome to stay, or you can take off. I mean, unless you're finding this exciting, have a seat. Yeah.
Thanks, Abel.
All right, we're gonna give him 30 seconds, and then we'll get back to the agenda. All right, consideration of Fisherman's Catch liquor license extension. Wayne, any violations here?
No.
Okay.
The only question I had was, are they up to date on the personal tax?
As far as I know, they are.
Okay.
Okay,
In that case, I would move to approve.
Second.
been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in
Yeah, I
fa-
want to know if we're considered politicians who are bottom feeders.
Like the lobsters that he sells over at Fisherman's
No,
Catch?
it was put on his sign last year.
Ah,
Yeah, all politicians are bottom feeders. So I wonder if he considers.
well, so are lobsters.
and he sells plenty of those.
All right, all in favor? Unanimous. Consideration of business license application for Gillies Brewing LLC, doing business as Aroma Joe's. David Gillies, owner.
Eek.
Oh, hi there. Anything we need to know, Wayne?
No, everything passed in good shape.
Okay.
Just
Move
out
to
of,
approve the license.
well, just one question I have prior to, is if they're already operating, how are they operating without a license?
Because their license inadvertently got paperclipped to the back of Kyle's license.
Yes.
Okay,
So I missed
so,
last
so,
meeting to get them
okay,
off the
so,
agenda.
so is that our error, not
That's
his?
my error. yes.
Okay,
An error. Yep.
okay, in that case, yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll second Sam's motion.
Okay. Mr. Gillies, do you own all your Roma Joe's?
Just Gray.
Just
Gray and.
Gray and Raymond?
Yep.
Okay. I've never
Mine's
been to an
open,
Aroma
Dean.
Joe's.
But
Do you have like just regular coffee?
absolutely.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have these young people that work for me and they love it and they go get these wacky drinks. I'm like, can you just get me coffee?
So Mondays, we have free coffee all day. Come down, iced coffee, regular coffee.
Seriously?
Yep.
Every Monday?
We're doing, no, this Monday. We're doing
This
our grand
Monday.
opening this next Monday.
Okay.
I'm saying that again at the mic because the
Yes.
mic's not
Yeah.
picking up.
No, so I was just saying,
Good
just
advertising.
is this next week we're doing our grand opening. We normally do it 6 to 8 weeks after we
Okay.
open. We're having different giveaways every day of the week, and on the Friday we give 10% of our proceeds. We picked a local nonprofit, which is the Waterways, to
Yep.
donate to.
Okay.
So,
Do you serve food?
yeah. Well, when we can get it. We're having a little bit of supply chain issue, just like everyone else
Yeah.
right now. So we're out of some of our breakfast sandwiches.
Okay. Great.
And they're good breakfast.
Nice to meet you. Welcome
See
to
you.
Raymond.
No, I
Yeah.
live right down the street. So
Good.
a little plumber drive.
Great.
Great. All right, and moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? All right. You're good to go?
Thank you very much.
How come this says Teresa Sadak? This says Teresa Sadak Chair.
Because it was done, it was supposed to have been approved before, well, she still.
Oh, are our feelings hurt a little bit there, Joe?
I'm upset.
He printed the form off.
Off the
online.
website? Yeah.
Before you got elected.
All right, consideration of business license application for Performance Motorsports. Is this the one next to the car wash? Auto Works?
I don't know.
Auto Works, yes, it is.
Is it? Wayne,
Yeah.
is that where it is?
Performance motor.
It's in that building. It's only one of the spaces in that building.
Okay.
It's the first space on the,
Actually, it's the middle space.
So you have to go around behind it? Or is
Yeah,
it in
but-
front?
You go to the front.
you go to the front, the
It-
garage is in
In
behind
the
it.
back?
Yeah.
All right.
The garage is not part of this business. It's just the office space out front that's part of this business. And that's what,
All right.
that's what, we inspected.
Okay.
Any issues there, Wayne?
I'm sorry?
Are we concerned about some of the stuff in the building or?
So I added it to the report because there's three different addresses in this building, and there is 1253 front, which is being leased. There's 1253 rear, which is an automotive repair area that's controlled by automotive everything.
Yeah.
So, you know, there were some issues that we'd like to have addressed. But as far as this particular applicant, his space is in real good shape.
So why isn't it broken down to then, instead of 1253, why isn't it broken down to exactly where he's at? The license application.
Well, that may be his
He
address.
might know, you know, addressing issues. When he made application, he was renting 1253, but there's really front and rear, and he might not have known that.
All right, and another question, Joe, if I can. So you're saying that there might be some issues in the other parts of the buildings, but because one of my questions is like, I know, like if you have one business and you got to have that wall in there so it doesn't go into another business, we've run into that on several different occasions. So what's different here that we're not having those fixed?
So he does have a door that leads into the rear area, but for the number of people that he's going to have in that front office area, he's only required to have that front entrance exit. And, you know, I looked at the rear just to make sure, if worst case scenario, somebody had to use the rear exit, just make sure that they could use it, they can. The biggest thing that I had for an issue at the rear was there's some ATVs stored up by the heating unit up top. And they don't have any gasoline in them. The tanks are all dry, but they're a little closer than they should be. So that's an easy fix for the owner of automotive everything next door to take care of for us. But it really, I need to work with that owner versus the owner for this application.
Okay, Joe, one more question.
Yep.
I know we had an issue with the other used car dealer over a little ways. Do they have so many cars that they're allowed to have out there? I mean, is there a limit on that? Or maybe Alex might know?
That might be an Alex question.
We don't have like a local ordinance that restricts the number.
No, not a local ordinance. We did with that one car dealership, though. Remember?
Yeah,
They
the one
actually-
across the old Raymond Auto Care across
Yeah.
the street. Yeah.
They actually, you're thinking of the one that had the limitation of like 25 cars or
Yeah,
something.
and Ray's Barber there. Yes.
They actually set that number themselves. So when they
Okay.
applied for the license, they said it would be for 25. So when it was approved, it was conditioned that it would be up to 25. So they kind of set that for themselves.
Okay. And this one, there's not.
Yeah, correct.
All right. Can I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second?
All those in favor? Unanimous?
Thanks, Wayne.
You're welcome.
All right. All right, Wayne, I think you're all done.
Hey, all right.
All right,
Well, have a good night.
you too.
You too. Thanks.
Is Kurt LaBelle with us?
He isn't, he is camping just now, and
Oh.
didn't realize he was on the agenda this evening.
Oh,
I can tell you what he sent to me so far, but if you want me to run over what little bit we know.
yeah, I mean, the website is pretty
Pretty thorough.
self-explanatory of what needs to be done. All right, so anyone 65 and over, please take a look at the, what are they calling it anyway?
It's called the Property Tax Stabilization Program.
Right,
The deadline is December 1st.
right. Applications need to be in by December 1st. You need to be 65 and over,
Eligible for homestead.
eligible for 10 years for homestead exemption, and you must be a resident of Maine.
Yes. And it doesn't have to be 10 years
In the same
house
town.
in-
It could be, right, different towns.
It can be different towns or different houses within the same town.
Do you have to apply for it annually?
You have to
Annually,
apply
it's
for
an
it.
annual application.
Yeah, and if you don't, then.
Then the taxes
it
go
would-
up.
It would potentially go up.
Right.
If the taxes ever go down, it
It-
stays at that down
Right.
rate. But you don't hear that.
No, that's probably not gonna happen.
That doesn't happen often.
Um,
The other piece, though, that we're letting folks know is that because the deadline's December 1st, the assessing agent isn't going to really review them until December 1st. The system, all of this came to be quite quickly. There aren't systems in place. There aren't a lot of things in place. We're not
Right.
really sure how physically we're going to deal with them. So if anyone calls, we won't have any answers for that.
This will be interesting for us going into a reval, because typically in a reval, and this may not be a typical reval because of what's happened in the market all across the board, you've seen, significant increases, but generally a third go down, a third are about the same, and a third go up. And so if you're in the category of go up, apparently it won't go up.
and there's no income guidelines.
Not
Anyone,
means tested at all. Yeah.
not right, anyone can apply.
It also doesn't pertain to this September's taxes. it's next year.
Next year's tax,
Right.
yeah, it's not this year, right.
Now, has it been defined, it was still kind of up, the last I looked at it was still kind of up in the air as exactly the timing on the reimbursement that comes back to us.
Yeah, that'll be
the
very
question.
important. And the other thing that I'm thinking is, you know, I'm sure they've done some sort of fiscal note on it and have an idea of what this is gonna cost, but this is gonna cost a lot.
Well, the fiscal note I read had $8 million, and that did not include
That's the first year.
That's the first year. Did not include the $371,000 that they've allocated for the administration of the program.
And was
Yeah.
that just for Raymond?
No,
No,
that's for the
I
state.
think they're gonna be under budgeted on that, or under,
Oh, yeah.
that's way off.
when people find out about this program, they're gonna sign up.
Right, why wouldn't you?
I mean, the only thing that, you know, where my concern is are we going to
Take a
be
hit.
potentially in a spot where we're going to have some fiscal issues come the end of the year, the end of that year, because we're not going to get reimbursed quick enough?
And right now, they have a deadline of the towns getting what we are asking for reimbursement to them by November 1st. So,
We actually
But
won't
how
know
long
about the
is it?
administration of this
Right.
and how well it's going to work until we do it, but it's a valid question and concern. I don't have an answer. I don't think anyone has an answer for that.
Because, I mean, in a worst case, in that situation, we may be in a situation where we have to go to a tin in order to get us through, which means we then have a cost associated with the savings.
yes.
You can rely on the state screwing this one up. So, yeah, we're gonna have to keep an eye on it and see how it
And I
acts.
wonder what happens if, you know, if this thing catches on like wildfire, which it should and will.
Yep.
And so then if the resources aren't adequate from the state, normally,
You know this will get squeezed.
you know what happens. And then, you know, another concern I have about it though is that if it does have to come down, or even if it comes from state monies, you know, since it's not means tested, it's an issue where some people are going to probably not need this and be able to get it. And then there are people who would be struggling to pay their taxes, who wouldn't be of the age range and other qualifications, who would, you know, be paying into that fund. And so, I mean, I get it, and I think it's a great thing, but I wonder why it wasn't means tested.
Well,
It's gonna be a large amount of money.
yes, it is.
But I guess while it happens, sign up.
Yeah, and the applications are online.
Yeah.
We get
Yeah.
them right from our website.
You have them on our website
And
too?
we have them printed in the town office, and we're printing the application along with the information sheet that the state gave for citizens,
Yep.
so that they'll have that.
Quickly, something.
Yeah.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you, Sue, for stepping in.
So anyone 65 and over, or if you're listening and your parents are 65 and over, just notify them of this program. It's on our website. You can pull down an application and turn it into the town office by December 1st. All right, we have a quick claim deed.
Sue, you gonna
Yes,
take
I'm
that
sorry.
one?
I was, Kurt had just gotten back to me again. James Floyd has come in, he sold his property and paid the $21,000, almost $22,000 in taxes that he's owed.
Nice.
So, he's ready to
Wow.
have a quick claim deed so he can finish the sale.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
Let's see, oh, we have to move on this, yeah.
There you go.
Oh, okay, there we go. You move for a quick claim deed filed against map 008, lot 093A, in the name of Floyd James E. in the Registry of Deeds, book 32517, page 100, book 35064, page 304, book 38553, page 64, book 33358, book 286, or page 286, excuse me, book 35913, page 190, book 34141, page 04, book 37080, page 32.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. All right. All right, manager's report.
Okay, so we have confirmed dates for upcoming regular meetings. I believe the date we have listed has now been changed. It's no longer the 13th, it'll be the 20th of September.
Correct.
And then we have October 11th, so everybody all set there.
Yep.
Reminder of upcoming holiday schedule, Monday, September 5th, Labor Day. And another reminder is the annual fundraising shooting event at Camp Hines, which is going to happen on September 9th, and that's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. So I want people to be aware of that. That normally generates some complaints. We have provided them with a butter list, and they're doing notifications. I think we put it on our website, and we may assist in other ways to try to get the word out so that people aren't alarmed by that. But if anyone's been in residence for any period of time, for instance, Sam probably knows all about it, and it's something they do every year. So that's coming around again. Other things I want to tell you about, the Main Street Sidewalk Walk project is on schedule. It should be completed in 2 weeks.
Looks good.
Interestingly, I haven't got a single complaint that has come to my level. I know Nathan's had some de minimis complaints, but Nathan and the crew have done a great job. The engineering firm, the contractor, Sebago engineering firm, and Glidden Paving doing the work. I think it looks spectacular. I think it's going to be a super improvement for the town. The only question I've gotten, and I've gotten it from a half a dozen people now, is are we getting streetlights? The answer is no, not now, but it's something that could be considered, in the future, but that's not part of the program. But so I've not had a single person say that they are unhappy about it, which is good news. We're seeking a full-time human resource officer, finance assistant, and that advertisement's posted on the website. It's posted in the local weekly papers. And so Rita Terrio, who's been with us for a long time, I think about maybe 18 years or so, is retiring. So good for her, and we're looking for someone to come into that position. So if you're interested, please apply. The town report finally is available. It's finally available, and it has an audit report in it, right? So that's a good thing.
And I forgot to bring the SelectBoard.
You've had to bring them, but that's okay. We'll get them in their boxes. So Kevin tells me that he's working with the library, some things that are happening there. They're going to get the full complement of town technology. They got only a partial one now because Kevin's done it on a volunteer basis for years, but they're getting their automatic locks, new phones. They're getting video security and all that entails. And this one you'll really like. We're getting a fiber link between the town office and the fire station that's going in, and apparently it's going in tonight, which is why we don't have the connection to the outside world on television, because they're splicing the connection, and apparently they cut our fiber connection tonight. So that will be fixed, and we'll be broadcasting live next time. We have an RFP, because Rolf's on the CoLab group, and so the RFP for broadband is, I'm told by Kevin, they're making a few minor changes, and it's going out next week or the week after, so we'll start to see proposals back, town-specific, on what it might take to install broadband infrastructure by town. So that's very exciting, and that's all.
Great. Selectman comment.
Do you need me to come in and sign those quitclaim deeds, or are you guys good?
No, you got a quorum, we're all set.
All right.
I just want to thank Kathy Goslin and Raymond Rescue. I did a pediatric vaccination clinic a couple of weeks ago, and I needed some epinephrine 1000 in a vial, and I could not get any, so they were kind enough to let me borrow one. I never used it, thank God. No one passed out on me, and so I was able to return it intact, and thank you so much for doing that. We spoke to the department, the rescue department in the town where I did this clinic, and they refused us. And I'm like, okay. But anyway, we did 181 vaccinations that day, and we did probably about 70 children. So it was a very successful clinic.
Good.
All right. So thank you, Kathy, and your crew. Very, very appreciative. Can I have a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
Move to go, pursuant to 1 MRSA 405-6E.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we're in executive session.
No, you're.
Bill? Let me
I
know.
don't know if you could.
All set.
All right.
Move to come
Okay.
out of executive session.
Do I have a second? All in favor? Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.